The discovery. The scanner blipped once, then fell silent again. Lieutenant Vexillar adjusted the sensitivity controls with one of his 4 tentacle appendages, while his single large eye focused intently on the display. For 3 standard cycles, the Coalition survey vessel Endless Horizon had been mapping this remote sector of deep space, far from any known trade routes or inhabited systems. "Getting interference again," muttered Ensign Cree, her crystalline form pulsing with mild irritation. "Same coordinates as before." Vexillar's eye narrowed. This was the 4th anomaly they'd detected in the same region. Protocol demanded investigation, but something about these readings made his chromatophores shift to an uneasy purple hue. "Helm, adjust course to bearing 347 Mark 12, he ordered. "Let's take a closer look." The Endless Horizon glided through the cosmic void, its sleek hull designed for long-range exploration rather than combat. As they approached the source of the anomaly, the interference grew stronger, playing havoc with their instruments. Visual. "Range in 30 seconds, announced the navigation officer. Vexillar moved to the main viewport, his body undulating with each step. What emerged from the darkness made everyone on the bridge fall silent. A massive warship hung motionless in space, covered in centuries of cosmic dust and micrometeor impacts. Its angular design was unmistakably human, a relic from the extinct species that had once challenged the Coalition's authority. The vessel stretched nearly 2 kilometers in length, its hull dark and scarred, weapons ports sealed, engines cold. "By the sacred nebula," whispered Cree. "It's one of theirs, the humans, a species that had refused to submit to Coalition rule 500 years ago. The war had been brief, but decisive. Earth had fallen within days, its colonies within weeks. The few human ships that had escaped the initial assault had been hunted down and destroyed, or so the history texts claimed. "Scanning for life signs," reported the science officer, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly. "Negative. No power signatures, no active systems, no biological readings. It's completely dead." Vexillar studied the derelict carefully. Something about it seemed wrong. Even ancient human vessels shouldn't be causing this much interference with their sensors, and the ship's condition was puzzling. Despite the obvious age and damage, the superstructure remained intact. No signs of combat damage that would have caused abandonment. "Identification markings?" he asked. "Faded, but readable. UES Prometheus. Registry indicates it was listed as missing in action during the Earth suppression campaign. Prometheus." Vexillar accessed his neural implant, pulling up historical records. The ship had been one of humanity's most advanced warships, rumored to carry experimental weapons technology. It had vanished without a trace during the final days of the war. "Sir," Cree's voice carried a note of excitement. "This could be the archaeological find of the century. An intact human warship? The Science Directorate will promote you to commander for this discovery alone." Vexillar's chromatophores flickered between purple uncertainty and green ambition. Cree was right. This discovery could make his career, but that nagging unease remained. "Prepare a boarding party," he ordered finally. "Full environmental suits, combat protocols. We don't know what killed the crew, and I want no risks." An hour later, Vexillar led a team of 6 through the primary airlock of the Prometheus. Their suit lights cut through the darkness, revealing corridors that seemed to stretch endlessly into the ship's interior. Everything was covered in a thin layer of frost and dust. "Atmosphere is present but toxic," reported Specialist Tharn, checking his readings. "High nitrogen content, traces of oxygen. The humans must have had life support failure." They moved deeper into the ship, past crew quarters with personal effects still floating in zero gravity, past a mess hall where meals remained half-eaten on magnetic tables. It was as if the entire crew had simply vanished mid-activity. "No bodies," observed Cree, her voice crackling over the comm. "Shouldn't there be bodies?" Vexillar had noticed the same thing. A catastrophic life support failure should have left corpses throughout the ship. Unless— "Sir, I'm getting power readings," Tharn interrupted. "Faint, but definitely there. Coming from somewhere deep in the ship." They followed the readings through the maze of corridors, past sealed bulkheads, and dormant defensive systems. The interference grew stronger with each step, making their equipment increasingly unreliable. Finally, they reached a massive blast door marked with warnings in multiple human languages. The universal symbols for danger were unmistakable. Whatever's causing the interferences behind this door, Tharn confirmed. Vexillar hesitated. Every instinct screamed that they should leave, report the find, and let properly equipped teams handle the investigation. But curiosity and ambition won out. Kree, see if you can interface with the door controls. The crystalline officer extended, filaments from her form, connecting with the human systems. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, with a grinding sound that echoed through the ship, the blast door began to open. The chamber beyond was vast, stretching up into darkness. At its center sat something that defied immediate classification. It appeared to be a massive sphere, maybe 30 meters in diameter, suspended in a complex framework of supports and conduits. Even in the dim light, they could see that its surface was covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and move. "What in the void is that?" Kree breathed. As if responding to her voice, lights began to flicker throughout the chamber. One by one, consoles started coming online, their screens filling with data in human script. "We need to leave," Vexillar said suddenly. Now. But it was too late. The sphere began to pulse with energy, its surface patterns now clearly moving, flowing like liquid metal. A vibration ran through the entire ship, subtle at first but growing stronger. "The ship's powering up," Tharn shouted. "Multiple systems coming online." They ran. Through corridors that were now illuminating themselves, past bulkheads that were sealing behind them, their escape route changing as the ship reconfigured itself. The vibration had become an audible hum, rising in pitch. They barely made it to their shuttle before the Prometheus's main engines fired for the first time in 5 centuries. The ancient warship's running lights blazed to life, its weapons ports opening, sensor arrays deploying. As the endless horizon retreated to a safe distance, Vexillar watched in amazement and growing dread. The human warship was fully operational, its power signature now lighting up every sensor within a parsec. "Sir," the communications officer's voice was tight with fear, "we're receiving a transmission from the Prometheus." "Put it through." The voice that filled the bridge was artificial, but unsettlingly human-like. "Coalition vessel, this is the UES, Prometheus. You have triggered primary activation protocols. Initiating Lazarus contingency. Please maintain safe distance." "Lazarus contingency?" Kree asked. "What does that mean?" Before anyone could answer, new contacts appeared on their screens. Deep inside the Prometheus, cryogenic systems that had remained hidden for 500 years began their warming sequences. In secured chambers throughout the ship, human crew members started the long journey back to consciousness. "Sir, I'm detecting massive power buildup in the sphere chamber," Tharn reported. "Whatever that thing is, it's fully charging." Vexillar's chromatophores had gone completely white with fear. "Send an emergency transmission to Coalition Command. Priority 1. Tell them the humans aren't extinct." As his message went out, the Prometheus completed its startup sequence. Status lights throughout the ship showed green. Weapon systems ran through automated checks, and in the depths of the vessel, the sphere, humanity's final contingency plan, prepared to send out a signal that would reach every hidden human refuge in the galaxy. The war they thought they had won 5 centuries ago was about to begin, again. And this time, humanity would not be caught unprepared. In the growing light of the awakening warship, Lieutenant Vexillar realized his discovery would indeed make history, just not in the way he had hoped. The silence of space was about to be shattered by the return of humanity's children. The dead were rising, and they were angry. The awakening, deep within the Prometheus, ancient systems hummed to life with purpose. Power flowed through conduits that had remained dormant for half a millennium, awakening circuits designed by desperate human engineers in Earth's final days. The sphere at the ship's heart pulsed rhythmically, each beat sending waves of energy throughout the vessel's neural network. In the primary AI core, consciousness sparked. Not awareness as organics understood it, but something far more focused, far more dangerous. Athena, advanced tactical human enhancement and neural autonomy, opened digital eyes that had been closed since the fall of Earth. System check. Initializing. Temporal displacement, 534.7 standard years. Primary mission status, active. Crew status, cryosleep intact, 1,247 souls. Initiating revival protocols. The AI's thoughts moved at light speed, processing 5 centuries of passive sensor data in nanoseconds. The galaxy had changed. The coalition had grown complacent. Perfect. In Cryobay Alpha, the first pod's warming sequence began. Inside, Admiral Sarah Chen dreamed of fire falling from Earth's sky, of cities burning, of the desperate last stand at Luna Base. Her dreams shifted as chemicals filtered through her bloodstream, easing her toward consciousness. 3. Pod hissed open. Sarah's eyes snapped wide, her hand instinctively reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. She sat up slowly, muscles protesting after centuries of inactivity despite the preservation protocols. "Welcome back, Admiral." Athena's voice filled the chamber. "You have been in stasis for 534 years. Earth time, unknown. Current location, Void Sector 9, approximately 12,000 light-years from Sol." Sarah swung her legs over the pod's edge, fighting waves of nausea. Status report. The ship was discovered by a coalition survey vessel 47 minutes ago. They triggered our proximity sensors, initiating automatic revival. The weapon is charging. All systems nominal. The weapon. Humanity's last gambit. Sarah remembered the desperate months of its construction, the brightest minds of Earth working in secret mountain facilities as coalition forces closed in. They had known they couldn't win a conventional war, so they had chosen a different path. How? Many of their ships? One survey vessel retreating. However, they have transmitted our location to Coalition Command. Expect military response within 6 to 12 hours. Sarah nodded, her mind already shifting into combat mode. 500 years of sleep hadn't dulled her instincts. Begin full crew revival. Priority to command staff and combat personnel. And Athena. Yes, Admiral. Send the signal. Throughout the galaxy, in places the Coalition had never thought to look, ancient receivers stirred. Hidden in asteroid fields, buried beneath alien ocean floors drifting in the cosmic void between galaxies, humanity's seeds waited. The signal from Prometheus reached them all, a whisper that became a shout. We rise. On the bridge of the endless horizon, chaos reigned. Vexillar watched in growing horror as his scanners detected massive energy signatures throughout the sector. Ships were powering up. Human ships, dozens of them hidden in places the Coalition had declared clear centuries ago. How is this possible? Kree's crystalline form flickered with distress. We destroyed them all. The records say. The records lied, Vexillar said quietly. The implications were staggering. If humanity had hidden this many ships, what else? Had they concealed? Incoming transmission from Coalition Command, the communications officer announced. Admiral Thane commanding the Second Fleet. ETA 4 hours. 4 hours. Vexillar's tactical training told him it wouldn't be enough. Whatever the humans had planned, they'd had 5 centuries to prepare for this moment. Back aboard Prometheus, Sarah stood in the command center, watching her crew return to their posts. They moved with the efficiency of those who had drilled for this moment, who had gone into the ice knowing they might wake to a changed galaxy. Commander Robert Kim approached, still shaking off cryo-sickness. All departments reporting in, Admiral. Weapons hot, shields at maximum. The surrounding fleet is responding to our signal. How many? 17 capital ships so far, with more arriving every minute. The Retribution, Defiance, Remembrance, they all made it. Sarah felt a cold satisfaction. Every one of those ships carried thousands of humans who had chosen the long sleep over surrender, who had trusted in Earth's final plan. "Admiral," Athena interjected, "I've completed analysis of current coalition positions and strength. They have grown significantly in our absence. Estimated military forces exceed pre-war levels by 300%. But their technology has stagnated. No significant advances in weapons or shielding. They believe themselves unopposed." Sarah smiled grimly. While the coalition had rested on its laurels, humanity's hidden enclaves had pushed the boundaries of science and war. The sphere, their masterpiece, represented technologies the aliens couldn't even conceptualize. "Incoming message from the coalition survey vessel," Kim reported. "Put it through." Vexlar's image appeared on the main screen, his chromatophores a swirl of colors indicating extreme stress. "Human vessel. This is Lieutenant Vexlar of the Coalition. Your species was defeated in accordance with galactic law. Stand down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Sarah stepped forward, her presence commanding despite centuries of sleep. "Lieutenant, I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Navy. I appreciate your position, but you're operating under a misconception. Humanity was never defeated. We simply chose to wait." "Wait for what?" "For this moment. For when you had grown comfortable in your victory. For when you believed the threat was past." She paused, letting the words sink in. "The war never ended. Lieutenant, we just took an intermission." Behind Vexlar, alarms began sounding. His crew scrambled to respond to new contacts appearing on their sensors. Not just ships, entire installations were coming online. Defense platforms, supply depots, communication relays. An entire hidden infrastructure revealing itself. "This is impossible," Vexlar whispered. "Athena, show them." The AI transmitted a tactical overview to the coalition vessel. Icons spread across the display. Hundreds of human ships, thousands of personnel, weapons platforms of unknown design, all centered around the Prometheus and its mysterious sphere. "You went into our homes," Sarah continued, her voice hardening. "You burned our world. You scattered our people to the void. Did you really think we would simply accept extinction?" More crew members filed onto the bridge behind her. Captain Martinez, the chief weapons officer, his eyes still holding the rage of watching Earth fall. Dr. Elizabeth Shaw, the lead scientist who had overseen the sphere's construction, her fingers already dancing over holographic interfaces. Commander Yuki Tanaka, whose family had died in the first bombardment, her expression carved from ice. "The coalition fleet will be here within hours," Vexlar said, though his voice lacked conviction. "You cannot hope to stand against the combined might of 7 species." "We don't intend to stand against them," Sarah replied. "We intend to show them what humanity learned in the darkness. Athena, begin Lazarus Protocol Phase 2. The sphere deep within Prometheus blazed with power. Energy readings spiked beyond anything coalition science could explain. In response, similar signatures appeared from every hidden human ship and installation across the galaxy. "You see, Lieutenant," Sarah explained, "your coalition made a critical error. You assumed that defeating us militarily meant destroying us entirely. But humans have survived ice ages, plagues, and nuclear war. We endure, we adapt, and we never forget." The main screen shifted to show Earth, or what remained of it. The planet hung in space like a burnt ember, its surface scarred and lifeless. But even as they watched, lights began to appear. Deep beneath the irradiated crust, in bunkers the coalition never found, more humans were awakening. "Impossible," Cree breathed. "We scanned every inch of that planet. The surface is molten glass. Nothing could survive." "On the surface," Dr. Shaw interjected, her voice calm and clinical. "But humans have always been diggers. We went deep, Lieutenant. Deeper than your scans could penetrate, and we waited." The bridge of the endless horizon fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't a few surviving ships. This was an entire civilization that had gone underground, literally and figuratively waiting for the perfect moment to reemerge. "Admiral Chen," Vexlar said finally, "what are your intentions?" Sarah considered the question. 500 years ago, she might have demanded vengeance. might have called for the complete destruction of the coalition. But time in the ice had given her perspective. That depends entirely on your coalition, Lieutenant. We can emerge as conquerors or we can return as equals. The choice is yours. The coalition will never accept. The coalition no longer has the luxury of acceptance or denial, Sarah cut him off. In approximately 6 hours, our primary weapon will finish charging. When it activates, every human ship, station, and settlement in the galaxy will be linked through quantum entanglement. We'll move as one, strike as one, defend as one. Your fleets won't be fighting individual ships. They'll be fighting a single, unified organism spanning the galaxy. She let that sink in before continuing. Or we can talk. We can find a way to coexist. But mark my words, Lieutenant, humanity will never again accept subordination. We learned that lesson in Ice and Darkness. Behind her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency. Status reports flowed in from across human space. The sleeping giant was stirring, and the galaxy would never be the same. I need to report this to my superiors, Vexillar said finally. Do so. Tell them Admiral Sarah Chen of the Prometheus awaits their response. Tell them humanity has returned. And Lieutenant? She leaned forward, her eyes holding centuries of frozen fury. Tell them we remember everything. The transmission ended. Around them, the stars seemed to hold their breath. In the depths of the Prometheus, the sphere pulsed like a heart, each beat counting down to a moment 5 centuries in the making. The age of humanity's exile was ending. What came next would reshape the galaxy forever.